This is a crankshaft for an early 50s, sort of pre-54 type 350 Royal Enfield G2 Bullet engine. I've not lightened the crank or anything, I'm just rebuilding a standard engine from what was more or less a pile of scrap. The flywheels were dismantled and covered in rust, and the big end was gone. It had a roller big end in it, but all the rollers were missing. The crank pin was out of the flywheels, the conrod was filthy, and the outer race or track for the bearings was worn. I put it together with some new rollers, and I got about the equivalent of about 3/1000ths of an inch play in the big end, and I didn't like that, so I pressed the hard eye out of the conrod and found and fitted another one, which is in good condition, and put the big end back together once again with the new rollers in it. The crank pin was very good that I fitted. It's not the one that was with the engine, it's another one that cleaned up and looked more or less like new, so that's gone in there. I also had to fit a new timing side main shaft because these ran directly in open roller bearings, and the face of the timing side shaft was chewed and gouged, so I fitted a brand new timing side shaft. I've been truing it up. We've got this one here, this clock reads in thousandths of an inch, it's on the 0 at the moment. This one reads in 0.1 of a millimetre increments, 0.1 being 4/1000ths of an inch, and we're also on 0, or more or less, there we are, we're on 0 there on both of them. And I'll rotate the crank now. You'll see that we've got 0.02 of an inch run out on the imperial gauge on the drive side, and we've got the equivalent of about 1.5 thousandths of an inch maximum on the metric gauge. And if we have a look at both needles, they're both rising and falling together, so one cancels the other out as far as what things will be like when the crank's inside the engine in the main bearings. So we've actually got less than 1/1000ths of an inch run out, probably closer to half a thou actually, so that is very good. And the nuts are done up tightly on the crank pin. I've just got to put the cheese head screws in to secure, make sure that the nuts would never rattle loose. They shouldn't do anyway because they're done up really tight, and this crankshaft is ready to go in to an engine. So I can now build up the bottom end of the engine, which will be a big step forward.